Today we're taking a look at the 2023 Fortis 30 by PSE. Just a reminder guys, head on over to mikesarchery.com to pick up any of our latest logo gear. We got plenty of hats and shirts, as well as any gear you might need for your next adventure. Welcome back to Mike's Archery's YouTube, and we are taking a look at the brand new 2023 lineup from PSE, looking at the Fortis 30. So these are bows that they introduced in January at the ATA show, and we've got all three models here for you. We're going to try to give you a breakdown across the board, making the comparisons in all the three cam options on the Fortis 30. Now PSE is still making all these bows right there in Tucson, and as we release these, PSE has just sold. So this is a new video for us now with the new owners of PSE, because we're about a month getting these out past the ATA. So it'll be interesting to see where PSE goes at this point. Pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be a great move with the new ownership. Now, when we look at the three options, we have got three cams. We've got the E2 cam, which has been there last year, as well as the S2 cam, which is for you short draw guys from last year, and then a slightly redesigned Evolve cam with the EC2 cam. As I said, we're going to try to give you speed breakdowns, all that differences between each of these bows. So let's start there with the E2 cam coming to you at IBOing with 345 feet per second. Then the S2 is a little bit different because it tops out at 29 inches. It is IBOing at 335 feet per second at 29-inch draw instead of 30 where it's normally measured. With the EC2 cam, you're seeing a 340 feet per second speed on that bow. They all have a 30-inch axle-to-axle across the board. That doesn't change with the cam options. However, the overall cam-to-cam length does change slightly depending on which cam you choose to use. The E2 cam is coming in with a cam-to-cam length of 35 3/4 of an inch. The S2 being the shortest with 34 5/8. And then the EC2 cam coming in at 35 5/8. So right there around that 35-inch mark is where all these bows are going to fall from cam to cam. But overall, just a nice platform there with this 30-inch bow and these three cams giving a longer feel due to this cam option. Now the brace height on these bows does vary slightly as well. The E2 cam is going to come to you with a 6 3/4-inch brace height, while the S2 cam has the shortest at 6 1/2. And then the EC2 cam coming at you with a 6 7/8 brace height. All those are nice higher brace heights than we normally see on these shorter bows, which is going to give a little more forgiveness, take some torque out of the issue, and just make these bows shoot really well. Now the reflex is very similar. The E2 and EC2 cam are both coming in at 3 3/4 and the S2 at 3 7/8. Now the advertised weight on these bows is coming in at 4.3 pounds. We threw it on the scale out of the box, and that does include the short stabilizer there at the bottom, and they are showing 4.8 pounds on the scale when they come out of the box. Now, once we take off the extra short stabilizer and any other accessories and limb dampeners, we're getting that bow down to 4.6 pounds. It's certainly coming in a little heavier than advertised by PSE, but not terrible. It's still right there where you would expect these bows to be. Now the draw length option is also one of the things that's different on each one of these cams. Now the E2 is going to give you the longest draw length option of the three cams. On the short end of it, you're going to get 27 1/2 inches. So most people can get into an E2 cam if you want to, but if you're needing that little extra inch or so of draw length, this cam is going to get you out to 31 1/2. Unfortunately, it doesn't get you that full 32 inches that we like to see with you long draw guys, but it's going to get you close. You may be able to compensate with a loop or something if you're really needing 32 inches, or you're going to have to step up to the Fortis 33 to be able to get that longer draw. Now when we look at the S2 cam, that is the short draw model, giving the shortest draw length range. We've already talked about it topping out at 29 inches, which will fit a lot of archers if you want to shoot that cam and be on the top end of it. But if you need that short draw, it's going to take you all the way down to a 25-inch draw length on the Fortis 30. Now, if you're looking at smooth, the EC2 cam is where it's at, and that's going to give you a nice wide draw range covering all the way from 25, so we get most of you short draw guys in there at 25 inches, and it takes it out to 30 1/2. So it's not stopping at 30 where we see a lot of these shorter bows. You're getting that extra 1/2 inch if you're needing a little longer draw length and want to shoot a shorter axle-to-axle bow. The EC2 cam will get you there and still give you a nice smooth draw cycle doing so. Now the draw weight options on the Fortis 30, You're able to get this bow in 50, 60, 70, and even 80-pound options. So that's going to give you a wide range there for smaller archers or lighter weight poundage guys. If you're wanting to keep the weight down, you can certainly get this in a 40 to 50. And if you're one of those guys that we're seeing trending towards those heavier weights, you can certainly get this bow in a 70 to 80 model and get the most out of this bow as you possibly can. The let-off range is still the same as it has been on these bows for the last several years. It's got an adjustable module there. It's going to allow you to change from 80 out to 90%. And you can also purchase a low let-off module if you want to grab that for an extra fee, and you can get it as a 75% module. Now, PSE is one of the few bows that does have a wide amount of turn range on it, so you can take 10 turns off these bows and probably get more like a 15-pound range, or possibly even lower if you want to, out of most of these PSE bows. So let's take a look at some of the new features and changes for the 2023 Fortis. One of them is this versatile platform with 3 cam options. It just gives you a lot of options there to fit everybody's needs and performance of what you want in this bow. That new EC2 cam has got a little wider track to it. It's just helping it fill in with the new EZ.220 shim system so that they could use that on this bow, and a wider draw track on it for the string as well. Just makes it fit into this platform but still has the same great feel. These bows, as we saw from PSE last year, are coming with that full draw stability technology. At full draw, these bows do not torque near as much as other models from other brands. It's one of those things that PSE has built in there. The way the cams roll over, just the engineering and how it's built, makes these bows sit extremely stable at full draw. It just reduces that induced torque from your hand and makes it for a better shooting bow. It also has an extremely wide stance. Now, we pulled these out and we noticed, everybody's going to a wider stance bow these days with a wider cam and a wider limb stance on these bows. This is a full 3 inches when we measured it, so it is one of the wider options that we have seen as a stance on a bow. Now, the Fortis 30 comes with the EZ.220 Snap Spacer System. Now, that is new for PSE going into 2023's models and is a great tuning option. It's going to allow you to not have to break these bows completely down, pulling axles and shims from around the cams. It just makes it an easier system to be able to loosen things up in a press, pop those spacers out, and as long as you keep them even from one side to the other with 220, then these bows are going to tune out. It's going to allow you to shift those cams left and right to get your paper tears perfect without fully breaking these bows down to do so. Now, they've also got a new limb dampener system with the Kill Shock Riser dampener. According to PSE, it is reducing vibration by an extra 28%. They've also got a new grip on this bow with the new Traction Tech grip. We like the feel of it. It's got a nice rubber grip tech to it. It's got a little tactile feel to it, just an overall good feel, but kept that slim grip that PSE has had with the bare metal. Now, if you want to peel that grip off there, I'm sure you can still shoot it on a bare metal grip, but the feel of this new grip keeps that slim, good feeling, low torque feel in your hand, but still gives you a nice rubber warm grip there to work with. Now, some of the integrations that PSE has done for this year, they've gone to the pick rail system. So on the front of the bow, you're going to see a new pick rail system for your sight mounting, and that's something that they have changed to for this year and added on. Now, they've had the integration of the rests in the back, and that's still the same. They've still got that dovetail system on the back for integrated with the QAD. Now, PSE has had the QAD integration option for the last couple years, and that stayed the same going forward with the Fortis. You can get that integrate dovetail system and use a QAD integrate rest. They also have the Hamskea core mount, so it's drilled for that. If you want to use the Hamskea integration system, you're able to use the core mount and use those holes in the back of the riser to mount a slimline Hamskea rest on the bow. Now, they've also kept with their standard mounting holes, so you still got your 2 double rest hole mounts there. If you want to use any other conventional rest that you've had for years, you can still mount those rests right to PSE. And even with the pick rail mount up front, you've still got your standard mounting holes there. They've kept with 2 options. So you've got your high and low mount there on their riser that they've always had for the last several years. So no changes there as far as accessories if you want something specific that doesn't work into this new integrated platform. They've also got top and bottom for a 2-piece quiver mount. They use the standard triangle mount, which has been around for several years. So if you're looking for a new 2-piece quiver, PSE has got a whole new lineup of 1-piece and 2-piece integrated quivers for their bows, but you can also use a 2-piece quiver with that triangle bracket as well. They still kept with the quick sling release there in the limb pockets, so if you've got one of those or like that system, it's still built into their barrels on the limb bolts. Now, as far as tuning, they've still got the PBT system built into their cables, which gives you that precision bus tuning and allows some more tunability on this cam if you're really just trying to tweak it with the cables rather than moving that new shim system around. Of course, keeping with the same single string stop there, which is just standard on most bows these days, and their locking roller guard, which they changed a couple years ago, was a nice feature on this bow as well, keeping everything stable and nothing moving through the shot. The roller guard keeping the draw cycle nice and smooth as it rolls through the shot as well. Now, the color options on the new Fortis 30, we've got 4 solids and 5 camos. In the solid line, we're going to be able to get you this bow in a black, their charcoal, as well as a green and a tan. And if you're looking for a camo setup, you're able to get this bow in First Light Fusion, Mossy Oak Bottomlands with that old school look, a Kuiu Verde 2.0, as well as Subalpine and Elevated 2. So lots of colors there to customize this bow to your liking. As far as price for the new Fortis 30, coming right there with everybody else's flagship bows. Coming in at $11.99, right there just to compete with everybody else. It's exactly where we expected PSE to be on their price point. From here, we're going to step back to the lane, take some shots over these bows, give you a breakdown of all 3 cam options with the speeds, as well as the noise ratings and feel from each one of these cams. And as usual, we're going to shoot these bows at 29-inch draw length with 70 pounds on 90% let off. So we've stepped back here on the lane, and we're going to take some shots through the Fortis 30, kind of give you a rundown, a breakdown of how this bow shoots and feels, also giving you the speeds all the way from 350 grains out to 500 grains and the noise ratings. We're going to shoot all 3 cams for you to kind of give you an idea of how all these 3 cams stack up against each other. So we're going to start with the Fortis 30 with the E2 cam. And as usual, all these bows, we're going to be shooting them on 29-inch draw length at 70 pounds and 90% let off, and then giving you the breakdown on the different weights from there. So let's see what the E2 on the Fortis 30 puts up for us. So with a 400 grain arrow to start with, on the E2 cam we got 303, which is some nice speeds out of these bows. Now when we back that E2 cam up with a 350 grain arrow, we got 320 feet per second. And again, 303 at 400, and then 285 feet per second with 450 grains. And then a 500 grain arrow gave us 271 feet per second. So overall, this bow's performing well, giving you just some good performance and nice speeds out of it, about what we expected to see. Now, as far as the noise rating on the E2 cam, that's coming in at 98.2 decibels. So not terribly loud. It's maybe a little louder than some of the bows we've shot this year. But again, for hunting purposes, it's going to be a nice quiet bow for you. And depending on your setup, that can vary a little bit. Now, as far as on the E2 cam, with the draw cycle on that cam, it is going to be a little stiffer cam. Now, it's built for performance with those different specs on it, giving you a little longer draw length option if you're needing that. But it's going to build up. The E2 cam they introduced last year, it's got holding peak weight 2 inches longer through that draw curve. The dump in the back end is not real bad, but it does have just a little bit of dump coming over the top. So you're going to feel that, but it's not anything terrible. You'll be able to ease into it, you know, once you get used to shooting that bow. The new traction grip that they put on there, it's got a nice feel to it. Got a little rubberized grip feel to it, so it sits in the hand nicely, but still real thin, keeping the torque out of it. So overall, the aftershot on this bow, also feeling good, dead in the hand. Whatever they did with the dampeners down here is definitely taking some vibration and shock out of that riser, just giving you a good aftershot feel on the Fortis 30. So that's kind of the breakdown of the E2. I'm going to grab an S2 and we'll go there and give you the breakdown on how the S2 did. All right, so we've grabbed the Fortis 30 with an S2 cam on it, and we're going to shoot that over the chronograph for you at the same specs as the other bows. Now with the S2 cam, it does top out at 29 inches, so that is going to be the most you can get out of it. But let's see what kind of numbers it puts up, and we'll give you a breakdown on what the S2 cam does to compare. All right, so with a 400 grain arrow, S2 cam is coming in at 309 feet per second, which is what we expected. It should be faster than the E2 cam, and most certainly faster than an EC2 cam. But with that coming in just about 6-8 feet a second faster, it's right where we expected it. IBO is 10 feet a second slower at an inch shorter, because like I said, it only comes top end at 29 inches. So this is made for your short draw guys. And when you drop back to a 350 grain arrow, we got 327 feet per second. From there, with a 450 grain arrow, we got 293 feet per second. And with a 500 grain arrow, we got 280 feet per second. So great performance out of the S2, exactly what we expected. It's built to get the most performance and speed that you possibly can out of this cam and out of these bows. And it's made so if you got that short draw, that's where it's going to shine. If you got a 29-inch draw and you want to shoot it on the top end, you're going to get the most performance out of this cam. But if you're a short draw guy coming in at 26, 27 inches, you're going to be able to keep some of that performance with a shorter draw and just keep your speeds up where you want to be. Now, as far as the draw cycle on an S2 cam, it is going to be the most aggressive of the three. Just because of the way it's built, it's smaller, it's made for those short draw guys. It just has a harsher draw cycle, and when it drops off in the back end, it definitely dumps into the valley pretty hard. Personally, probably one of my least favorite of the three, just for the draw cycle on it. But certainly if it's what you got to have for that short draw, or you're just wanting to get all the peak performance you can, that's something you give up to get speed. You're going to have a little harsher draw cycle. So the S2 is where that's going to be. Now, as far as the aftershot on this bow, noise rating was the same as the E2 at 98.2 decibels. You know, grip, feel, all that is great once you get the full draw on it. And then the aftershot, still no vibration. You know, the change that they made for this year has a great feel to it. The full draw stability, even with that shorter cam, is still got a good feel, and you can tell taking the torque out of that bow. So just a great option for you short draw guys if you want to be able to keep peak performance with that S2 cam. So we're now going to grab the EC cam and see what that puts up for us. All right, so we've grabbed the Fortis 30 with an EC2 cam, and this is the slightly redesigned EC cam with that wider track and just being able to use that shim system with the 220 Easy system. So just a deeper groove on the EC cam to get that EC2. But this is going to be the smoothest of your three for sure, just the way it's built off that standard EC platform, the Evolve cam. So let's see what kind of numbers this posts up, shooting it on the same specs as the other two bows. All right, so with the EC2 cam and a 400 grain arrow, we got 300 feet per second, coming in just a little bit slower than an E2 cam, which is to be expected. They are IBO'd about 5 feet a second difference, but we're not seeing that drastic of a spread really. Only 3, maybe 2, 3, 4 feet a second at the most between the EC2 cam and an E2 cam as we shot these. So when we drop back to a 350 grain arrow with the EC2 cam, we got 316 feet per second. Again, 300 at 400 grains, and then 285 when we went to a 450 grain arrow, and then 268 when we went to a 500 grain arrow. It was falling about 2 or 3 feet per second behind an E2 cam, and actually dead nuts the same at 450 grains. So the Evolve cam, that EC2 cam, is definitely holding performance, considerably smoother than the E2 cam. So if that's a factor for you, you're really not giving up a lot of speed and performance going to the EC. So as far as decibel ratings, on the EC2 cam, you're looking at 97 decibels. So coming in a little bit quieter than an E2, which is to be expected there as well. It doesn't take a whole lot to change those decibels. So from there, the bow shoots very well. I mean, if you're looking for the smoothest option in any of the new PSEs, Evolve cam's always where it's going to be. It's been one of our preferred cams for the last several years, and the EC2 redesign really kept that same feel. Exceptionally smooth, very little drop off in the back end as you come into the valley. It just rolls in there really nice, sets solid. From there, no vibration in the hand. Just overall, just a great package. So the performance difference as far as speed between an E2 and EC2 cam, my opinion, not really worth it. I would lean this direction for me personally. But if you want to get everything you can out of it and you like that little aggressive feel and you want to stand on the back wall a little harder, the E2 is then probably for you. But if you've got shoulder problems or just want the smoothest option you can get, then look at that EC2 cam. From there, this bow is very, obviously it's the same bow as the other three, it's just a cam difference. So the overall feel, look, shootability of it is right there with it. You're going to get a little more forgiveness, I think, with the EC2 cam because of the higher brace height. So there's a lot of things there to take in consideration, and most certainly take a look at all three of these bows. If you got an opportunity to get to your shop or here at Mike's Archery, we'll let you shoot all of them, make your decision on what's best for your situation, and put you in the bow of your choice. So if you're looking for one of the new Fortises from PSE for 2023, give us a call at Mike's Archery and we'll put one in your hands.